Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's neighborhood meeting. My name is Michelle Freethy, and I'm a senior planner with the city's Development Services Department. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to present to you, the neighborhood, two development concepts being considered by the owner and development team of 49 Hanmer Street West and 582 Bayfield Street, prior to formal development applications being submitted to the city. This provides an opportunity for the development team to hear initial community feedback and incorporate it into their plans prior to making a full and formal development application to the city. Please be aware, we are recording this meeting for the public record. The recording will be used for the purpose of garnering your input and responding to inquiries, and will be considered public information. Please also be aware that as a registered attendee tonight, your email address will be added to the mailing list. Your email and your mailing address will be added to the mailing list so that you can receive further information about this application as it progresses. Should you have any questions regarding this collection, please contact the Development Services Department. I would also like to let everyone know that there are staff behind the scenes managing the technology tonight. They're here to make sure the meeting runs smoothly, to grant participants the opportunity to speak, and to assist with any questions in the chat. Please bear with us if we have any issues. And if for some reason you get disconnected, please feel free to log in again. So for introduction, you have myself, Michelle Freethy, running the meeting. We have Councillor Corser with us, the ward councillor. She is here in attendance. And we have the applicant's consulting team, IPS, who represents the applicant and will briefly provide an overview of the development proposals and answer any questions that you may have. The intent of tonight's meeting is to provide members of the public with an opportunity to become familiar with the development applications and the planning review process, and to also ask the applicant questions and provide feedback to the applicant on the proposals. What to expect? A brief overview of the city's review process and timing, a presentation from the applicant's representative describing the proposals, and an opportunity to ask questions of either the applicant or city staff and provide comments or identify concerns with the application. What not to expect? Any city staff recommendations on the application or a detailed analysis of the proposal. This will occur later in the process. A debate on the merits of the proposal between city staff and the applicant. Tonight is to present the information and to just collect feedback and answer any questions. Next steps in the process. Before we get into the presentation, I just want to quickly highlight the next steps in the application process. This neighborhood meeting is established early in the development process to ensure local concerns are incorporated or addressed through the city's review. After this meeting, we expect that the applicant will make a formal submission for this development project. Formal submissions undergo a full technical review and must address comments received from this neighborhood meeting, from the city's technical departments and external agencies, and from members of the public more broadly. In conjunction with this, a statutory public meeting will be held virtually on the applications at Affordability Committee. At a public meeting, applicants present their application to council, answer questions, and provide an overview of and response to any issues, concerns identified during a prior neighborhood meeting. As part of a public meeting, members of the public also have an opportunity to provide verbal or written comments. Following a public meeting, staff will continue the technical review process, and the applicants will make any necessary revisions to the development proposal. Once the review process has concluded, a staff recommendation report is brought forward to council for their consideration. All comments received through the review process, including those received at the neighborhood and public meetings, are identified and addressed in the staff report and form part of staff's recommendation on the subject applications. A staff report for these particular applications could be brought forward to council sometime later this year, depending on when the applications are received. I will now move on to the applicant's presentation. As I mentioned, the proposed projects will be presented first, which will follow with a question and comment period. So at this point, I'll stop sharing my screen, and John is here for my PS, and I'll ask him now to share his screen so that he can follow the presentation.
Thank you, Michelle. Good evening, Councillor Corser, City of Barrie staff, and public attendees. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to attend our presentation regarding the development proposed at 49 Hanmer Street West. My name is John Albert, and I'm a planner with Innovative Planning Solutions Consulting located at 647 Welham Road in Barrie. I am joined by my colleague, Nick Scarrett, Senior Planner at Innovative Planning Solutions as well. The property is located at the southwest corner of Hanmer Street West and Bayfield Street North intersection. The property is 1.1 hectares in size and has 234 meters of frontage along Hanmer Street West. The site is currently used as a parking lot. Hanmer Street West is a major collector road, and Bayfield Street North is an arterial road. There are residential uses to the northwest, west, and south of the proposed development, and commercial uses to the east of the property along Bayfield Street North. This is a conceptual render that shows the view facing southeast from Hanmer Street. The development concept proposes a 10-story residential building with 196 units and a 20-story mixed-use building with commercial uses on the ground floor and residential units above, with an 8-story podium. There are 3-story townhouse units consisting at the south end of the development. The total proposed development is 499 residential units in total. The proposed development transitions down from the highest density on the northeastern corner of the property with the 20-story tower down to the lowest density with the townhouse units and associated backyard on the south side of the property, which will provide an appropriate transition to the existing residential uses to the south. The townhouses provide adequate transition to the residential uses on the south and provides a housing type variety. This conceptual render shows the view facing northwest from Bayfield. This is the rear view point of the development. There are 2 amenity spaces at grade. The amenity spaces are also proposed on the rooftops of the podiums of the 10-story residential building and 20-story mixed-use building. The mixed-use building, as you can see more clearly in the back, has an 8-story podium. There are 5 blocks of 3-story townhouses with 6 units on each block on the south side of the property, as you can see here. The proposed development has 2 vehicular access points, one on the southwestern corner of the site, aligning with Snellgrove Crescent, and one on the east side of the property, aligning with the driveway on the property across Hanmer Street, which would be 30 Hanmer Street West. Both accesses face Hanmer Street West. There are amenity spaces located on top of the podiums and throughout the development. There will be underground parking for the mid-rise building and high-rise buildings, surface parking, and parking at grade for the townhouse units. There will be a vegetation buffer, as you can see here, on the site side of the property, and fencing provided to create the appropriate separation between the residential uses to the south. Here we have the official plan designation, the current City of Barrie zoning bylaw, and the draft zoning bylaw. The official plan designates the subject lands as commercial district. The proposed uses are permitted under the commercial district designation. The subject lands are designated as a strategic growth area within the City of Barrie official plan. The subject lands are designated as this area is intended as a focal point for the long-term residential growth, commerce, jobs, placemaking, and community building projects as identified by the province and municipality, such as the proposed development. The subject lands are zoned general commercial C4 with a special provision 428. The subject lands are zoned commercial district 2 in the new City of Barrie comprehensive bylaw. Please note that this new comprehensive bylaw is not yet in effect and is currently going through the public consultation process. Site-specific provisions are being requested through the zoning bylaw amendment to rezone the subject lands from general commercial C4 zone with special provision 428 to medium mixed use zone, the mixed use zone. This is a preliminary concept plan. We are currently developing the concept plan in order to determine the site-specific exceptions required for the zoning bylaw amendment application. Studies and materials to make a formal submission to the City of Barrie have been commissioned and are currently in progress. A variety of technical studies are required, such as a traffic impact study, a functional servicing engineering report, to form an attractive functional design. The neighborhood meeting is the start of a lengthy development process. The neighborhood meeting is meant as a first step in the public engagement process, looking to gather information and initial feedback. Once a zoning bylaw amendment application has been formally submitted, the application will be reviewed by city staff, city departments, and agencies, followed by a public meeting for further discussion and consideration for council. After the zoning bylaw amendment process, the development will go through a site plan application process, which will further refine the details of the development. After the site plan application process, the proposed development will seek a building permit, and after the building permit has been sought and granted by the City of Barrie, then construction will be able to proceed. Thank you again for taking the time out of your day to attend our presentation regarding the proposed development. I wanted to highlight that no decisions will be made today at this meeting, as it is for informational purposes only. Please contact the City of Barrie Planning Department if you have any questions about the city's public meeting process and planning processes. And with that, we'll be switching over to the development that is located northeast of the previous development at 580 Bayfield Street. So again, my name is John Albert, and I have my colleague Nick Scarrett here from Innovative Planning Solutions. We represent Barbe Holdings for the zoning bylaw amendment application located on the subject lands for the purpose of providing for a mixed-use high-rise development. The property is located on the northwestern corner of Hanmer Street West and Bayfield Street North intersection. The property is 2 hectares in size and approximately 105 meters of frontage along Bayfield Street North, and has approximately 208 meters of frontage along Hanmer Street West. The property is currently occupied by the North Barrie Commercial Plaza, which consists of a variety of commercial uses, including a private school, a grocery store, a fitness center, a car detail center, a restaurant, and associated surface parking. Hanmer Street West is a major collector road, and Bayfield Street is an arterial road. The boundary of the City of Barrie limit, where the City of Barrie abuts the Township of Springwater, is located directly north of the property, along the property line. There are commercial uses to the south and to the east of the property along Bayfield Street, and there are residential uses to the west of the property. Again, the neighborhood meeting is a start of a lengthy development process. It is meant to be the first step in the public engagement process, looking to gather information and initial feedback. Similar to the other application, once a formal zoning bylaw amendment application has been submitted, the application will be reviewed by city staff, city departments, agencies, and followed by a public meeting for further consideration from council. After the zoning bylaw amendment process, development will go through the site plan application process. And then, as previously mentioned, it will seek a building permit. And once a building permit has been sought and granted by the City of Barrie, then only will construction be able to proceed. The ground floor of the high-rise buildings will permit the same commercial uses that exist today within the North Barrie Commercial Plaza. This slide shows the conceptual render view facing the Hanmer Street West and Bayfield Street North intersection. This is the rear view point of the development. The residential building has a 7-story podium with a 12-story tower consisting of 272 units. There are also 6 3-story townhouse units proposed on the northwestern corner of the property. The proposed townhouses provide adequate transition to the north of the property and provide housing type variety. There are amenity spaces located on the top of the podiums and throughout the development. This conceptual render shows the view facing northwest from Hanmer Street and Bayfield Street intersection, facing northwest. The development concept proposes, as you can see here again, the mixed-use building with a 6-story podium with 3 towers, which are the 20 stories, 17 stories, and 15 stories in height, as labeled in the render. There are commercial uses at grade along Hanmer Street West and Bayfield Street North, consisting of a total of 516 units. The mixed-use component of the building will provide for commercial uses on the ground floor, facing Bayfield Street and Hanmer Street. The proposed development for 580 Bayfield Street will consist of a total of 804 residential units. As you can see more clearly on the conceptual site plan, this is a bird's eye view of 580 Hanmer Street proposed development. There are 2 blocks of 3-story townhouses with 8 units on each block. The proposed development has 3 vehicular access points, 2 main access points on the south side of the property, providing for access to Hanmer Street West, and 1 on the northeastern corner of the property, providing access to Bayfield Street North, which will be a right-in, right-out access. The transition in height from the highest density on the southeastern corner of the property to the lowest density on the northwestern corner of the property helps with the transition to apartment buildings, the apartment building to the west. There will be underground parking for the mid-rise and high-rise buildings, surface parking, and parking at grade for townhouse units. There are amenity spaces at grade on rooftop of the podiums for both the 20-story mixed-use building and the 10-story residential building. The official plan designates the subject lands as a commercial district. The proposed uses are permitted under the commercial district designation. The subject lands are zoned general commercial C4 zone. Site-specific provisions are being requested through through a zoning bylaw amendment to rezone the subject lands from general commercial C4 zone to the mixed-use zone. The subject lands are designated as a strategic growth area, as previously mentioned in the City of Barrie official plan. Strategic growth areas are intended as focal points and long-term centers of residential growth, commerce, jobs, placemaking, and community building projects as identified by the province and the municipality, such as the proposed development. The subject lands are zoned Commercial District 2 in the new City of Barrie comprehensive bylaw. The new comprehensive zoning bylaw is not yet in effect, as it is going through the public consultation process. This is the preliminary concept for the proposed development. We are developing the concept plan to determine the site-specific exceptions required for the zoning bylaw amendment. Similarly to the other site, the site-specific provisions are being requested through a zoning bylaw amendment to rezone the subject lands from general commercial C4 zone to the mixed-use zone. This is a preliminary concept, and we are currently determining the site-specific exceptions as previously mentioned for the zoning bylaw amendment. The studies and materials to make a formal submission to the City of Barrie have been commissioned and are currently in progress. A variety of technical studies are required, such as a traffic impact study, a functional servicing report, to form an attractive functional design. The neighborhood meeting, as previously mentioned, is the start of a lengthy development process and meant as the first step in the public engagement process, looking to gather information and initial feedback. Once a formal zoning bylaw amendment application has been submitted, the application will be reviewed by city staff, city departments, and agency, followed by a public meeting for further discussion and consideration for council. After the zoning bylaw amendment process, the development will go through a site plan application process, which will further define the details of the development. After the site plan application process, the proposed development will seek a building permit, after which, after being sought and granted by the City of Barrie, then only will construction be able to proceed. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to attend our presentation regarding both developments. No decisions will be made today at the meeting, and it is for informational purposes only. We welcome any questions and comments you may have at this time from a high-level perspective. Through the zoning bylaw amendment process, there will be a future public meeting during which you will also be able to submit written correspondence or have an opportunity to speak regarding the proposed zoning bylaw amendment applications. Please contact the City of Barrie City Planning Department if you have any questions about the public meeting process, and thank you for your time.